Hello and welcome to the latest wealthmanagement.com Fast Chat. My name is Diana Britton, Managing Editor at Wealth Management. And today's discussion is on what every advisor needs to know about transition. I'd like to welcome my guest, Tammy Robbins, Executive Vice President and Chief Business Development Officer at Cambridge Investment Research, Inc. Tammy, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Diane. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so Tammy, let's start off, why should a financial professional consider transitioning to a new partner firm?
Sure. An advisor really needs to consider transitioning when the current partner firm that they have really isn't meeting all their needs, especially one that means a lack of available services or a lack of flexibility that keeps you from serving your clients, or just general inflexibility that's preventing you from growing your business the way that you want to. So if you're considering the benefits of a transfer, make a list of what's currently working for you and what's not. That'll help you prioritize your business needs to see what you need to be looking for in your new partner firm. So other red flags to watch out for are financial stability of your current firm. What is their long-term plan? How long do they plan to stay in the business? Are they considering selling at some point? Are they owned by a private equity firm where it could change rather quickly? And is there a lack of transparency really on how things are run? So finding a partner firm that fits your needs is really everything for an advisor. That's why Cambridge, we focus so much on flexibility, both during a transition and in the level of service we offer after they're on board. We do offer customized transition plans and timelines for every practice transitioning to us. We also make sure each advisor has access to a dedicated transition consultant they can directly contact with questions or concerns. You won't find yourself spending hours on hold hoping a person, you can get a hold of somebody that can help you, right? You'll know your transition consultant knows who you are and access to the details of your transition here at Cambridge. So we also know communicating these changes to your clients can be a tricky process, both logistically and emotionally, which is why we offer things like client communications that you can use as examples throughout the process.
Yeah, that's great. And, I know a lot of advisors think about how long it takes to do a transition. What does a typical transition timeline look like?
Yeah, our guiding core value of flexibility here at Cambridge tells us that no two transitions are the same. That being said, though, as a general rule of thumb, we recommend reserving 4 to 6 weeks to prepare for your transition. Of course, here at Cambridge, we personalize every transition plan. So you may fall above or below this range, depending on your particular business model and the complexity of your transition. So it can be rather a detailed process and sometimes complex. So you want to give yourself some grace, as I say. 4 to 6 weeks out, you'll want to start with the basics, like reviewing your current contract with your firm, segmenting your book of business, and ensuring you get to your top clients first. And then about 3 to 4 weeks out, you'll need to be looking at forms needed for account transfers. You may also need to complete some trainings, doing some fingerprinting, some of those normal activities. And then next, you'll want to start submitting paperwork like your Form U4, outside business activities, and preparing materials that you may want to use after your transition as well. But a week or two ahead of time, you'll also want to start preparing your resignation letter. You'll want to nail down any final details with your new partner firm and making sure you've completed all the necessary trainings. So this is also when you'll want to be sure you have a plan established for your client assets. So if your firm provides a checklist like Cambridge does, you'll want to be sure to carefully go through it and make sure nothing is missing that could jeopardize a smooth transition. Then on T-Day, as we call it, you'll submit your resignation to your partner firm, and then they will submit your U4 to FINRA. Once the transfer is completed, you can start contacting your clients about what to expect. And then, of course, once after the transition is complete, you'll need to make sure the staff is trained on any of the new workflows that you might have and reconcile any transferred accounts and make sure all your compliance forms are completed. Your new partner firm should be working with you throughout the process to make sure all your loose ends are tied up. And you can also use the period of transition to actually deepen your relationship with your clients. Check in, make sure they don't have any lingering questions, ask them how the experience was for them, offer to schedule a phone call. This is a great time to touch base and reassure them that these changes were made to benefit them as well.
That's great. What are some of the things that a financial professional should consider when choosing a new partner firm?
When you're looking to make a transition, remember you want to think long-term. So some firms offer short-term incentives to attract new advisors, but you need to ask yourself that if a firm will really be able to provide what you need in the long run. So when you're evaluating potential partner firms, be sure to consider things like the size of the new firm. Is it big enough to support your needs, but not so big that you can't get personalized support? If you trust the management of the new firm, if they're able to support your desired business model with clearing and custody firms that you've chosen to work with, what their fee structures look like, what their technology that they offer. You really can't, Diane, overdo the due diligence process. Really, it's transitioning is such a huge step for advisors, and you want to feel confident in your choice of your new partner firm. And you want to make sure that they are able to fully answer all of your questions and support you now, and what you're thinking of your business for in the future. So I might recommend asking some additional questions of them, like, what will you do to meet the needs of my priority clients? So if you have a designated segment of clients in your business, you may want to take a look and see what services that they have that could help serve them. You want them to be flexible enough, right? So that you can cater to those you're potentially targeting as well. And then also ask who's going to be available during your transition. Will I get a dedicated contact? Can I call them directly, email them directly? It's so important to have the right people and technology to facilitate the transition. It really will help minimize the stress for you and your staff and your clients. This is why at Cambridge, we have an entire transition support team to assist our financial professionals during the process. And also, will you be creating a transition plan specific to my book of business is a question I'd ask. So a written transition plan will show you the new firm is really prepared for your transition. It should include specific trackable milestones throughout the process to help guide you. And at Cambridge, again, we also provide a checklist to supplement not only your organizational efforts, but also to make sure nothing gets lost in the shuffle as well. So another couple of questions, probably, how long is it going to take? Can I track the status of my transitioning client accounts? The business doesn't stop during a transition, and you'll want to make sure that you have a realistic time frame that you can monitor the status of your clients' accounts during the process. And then lastly, how will you ensure all my client assets will be moved over? If you have clients with assets like with proprietary funds, penny stocks, crypto, you'll want to ask the new firm, what are their plans to handle these assets both during the transition and after?
That's a great point. And, I know one of the biggest concerns advisors have is how their client base or their staff might react to a transition. What are some of the recommendations you have to make this process as seamless as possible for those involved?
Well, Diane, communication is key, right? Make sure that you communicate not only with your clients, but your staff about the timeline and what to expect. You'll want to make sure you're personalizing your communication with your most valuable clients, whether it be a personal phone call, setting up a meeting, doing a series of emails, depending on the priority level of those clients as well. And try to be clear about how this change is going to benefit them in the long run and what they'll need to do, these specific activities during the process as well. Convenience is also important. So if possible, the new partner firm, you should be looking at tools like e-signature to make it as painless as possible for those clients and your staff. And you'll want to have a clear-cut timeline for each step in the transition process. So this also allows you to walk clients and your staff through all the necessary steps without overwhelming them. And be sure to tell your staff what to expect, right? They're an instrumental part of your practice. So including them in all the steps that you'll need to do, whether it be verifying client emails, processing the paperwork, different trainings from the new partner firm. They really all have their own role and responsibility of a transition. And again, they're such an essential part. I can't overstress communication.
Yeah, those are some great tips. Any additional thoughts or things to consider when thinking about making a transition?
Yeah, if you're considering a transition, first of all, know that you're not alone. In 2022, they saw more than 9,000 experienced advisors change firms. So, this year we'll probably have something similar to that. So among the firms that are moving, independents have been the fastest growing form of affiliation over the last 10 years. And as advisors look for more freedom, the ability to serve their clients, better tools and resources, and opportunities for growth and revenue maxing activities are important. So advisors are really realizing there can be a lot of benefits to embracing the independent model. A firm like Cambridge not only offers more flexibility when serving your clients and growing your business, but we're also able to help with offloading the duties that may not be beneficial for you to spend your time on, such as compliance or middle and back office tasks. So our focus on flexibility allows you to not just grow your business, but grow your business the way that you want to grow it. So remember, your business is important. Who you choose to partner with will affect both your quality of service and your quality of life. Transitioning is a huge process, and it's critical to make sure your new partner firm has the resources to support you through it. Don't settle.
Yeah, some great takeaways. Well, I'm afraid we're just about out of time, but this was a great fast chat. And I'd like to thank my guest, Tammy Robbins, EVP and Chief Business Development Officer at Cambridge Investment Research, for speaking to us about this topic. And thank you to the wealthmanagement.com audience for joining us today. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks for having me, Diane.